you had the freedom to build any kind of theme park in the world that you wanted to, or any kind of branding or anything, what would you base it around? Something you're probably passionate about, right? Like, I don't know, roller coasters maybe in this case. That'll be a good theme. Cars. A tropical paradise. Have you considered making one based around bodily functions? Yeah, someone did. Which means today we're talking about a theme park that I've never actually been to and don't particularly want to go to, but I'm still very fascinated by. And that's called Bonbon Land. Bonbon Land is in Denmark. Is Danish in Denmark. And Bonbon Land originated from the wild success of the Bonbon candy brand. It was founded by the entrepreneur Michael Spangsberg in Holm-Olstrup, Denmark in the 1980s. And by the 1990s, Bonbon, the branding, became famous for its humorous, crude, and quite quirky humour, with sweets like dog farts or hundeprutter, seagull droppings, pea diapers, large boobs. I'm sorry for saying that on the channel. Oh my gosh. Which apparently delighted children and created a whole nationwide craze. In fact, the branding was so popular, people started to ask for factory tours of the sweet factories, which, due to strict hygiene laws, made this impossible. Goodness knows how they were making them. How on earth did we get from a company wanting to build a theme park to this? Well, to satisfy public craze and capitalise on the brand's popularity as well, Spangsberg decided to create a theme park based around some of these crude themes, so guests could get immersed in what was their very odd branding. And there was created Bonbon Land. Bonbon Land opened its gates in 1992. It initially featured a small confectionery workshop, small rides, and a candy store. The park's first major famous ride was the infamous dog fart coaster, also known as Hundeprutter Utschebahn, and that came out in 1993. It was themed around one of Bonbon's most famous and ridiculous sweets. I know what you're thinking. Who is going here? Who thought that was a good idea? Who signed off on this? Apparently, it was actually very popular, but I have the same questions. In fact, the park quickly gained popularity for the over-the-top toilet humour. There were statues and rides depicting animals in various kind of embarrassing poses. As Bonbon Land grew, it expanded its rides and attractions quite largely. Oh my gosh, did you just see that? You are so naughty. It always stayed true to the brand's cheeky offbeat identity, but there were some things removed from the parks. Things that may have been acceptable in the 1990s perhaps aren't as acceptable now for a family-friendly based theme park. So here's some things that actually have been removed from Bonbon Land. Get ready, because this is about as vile as my channel is ever going to get, and I'm so sorry for what I'm about to tell you about. So several of its most vulgar elements have been toned down or removed, as I said. And here's some specific examples. Statues with exposed and nipples. Many of the animal statues, such as cows, donned some, I guess, exaggerated depictions of breasts. Most have been removed or modified due to their explicit nature. There were playground slides with bodily function themes. Slides where it was a giant hand that was representing the P area, and some of the more controversial things in there were duly taken out of those play areas. I do not have to tell you why. There were lots of sort of overly sexualized mascots. So some were the pig from something called Naughty Buns. I don't know what that is, and I'm not going to Google it. And the cow from Big Boobs. What is that? They're originally quite explicit, and now as they've tried to adapt to a younger audience, they have retired some of these characters, or at least censored them slightly. And finally, there was a general reduction in some of the politically incorrect themes. So it still embraces toilet humour, some gross bodily functions, and all this kind of stuff. It has toned down a lot of the things that I guess should now be expected in, or should not be inspected in a family theme park, sorry. They just wanted to meet the modern expectations of family entertainment, I think. Ugh, so woke, innit? Not having big booty cowl around the park. I'm just kidding, that's actually vile. Okay, we talked about things that have gone. But what do they still have? If you were to go to Denmark today, what would you find? Here's some roller coasters. I've mentioned the Hunderputterbaneboen. My Dutch isn't that good. So this is the most iconic ride featured around the dog fart candy that they sold. And it features a train, which is a dash sound, some fart sound effects. How unclassy is that? Yeah, isn't this immersive? I hope you guys are enjoying the stim board, because I am. And some pretty disturbing and graphic statues along the track. Wildsvinet, which I think is the wild boar, which this one's exciting to me because this was the world's first Geschlauer Eurofighter, which is actually true. This is true. I know I spread a lot of misinformation. That's true. And it's actually one of the park's most thrilling roller coasters. They have Handtacken, themed around a cheeky tomcat. They have the water snake Vinder Victor or something like that. It's a family-friendly Tivoli coaster with a long elevated track, and it was relocated from Germany to be taken to Bonbon Land. They've got a beaver rafting ride, Van Trotten the water rat, Sven Svingram, which is a giant Zamperla pendulum ride, Cobra Tower, a Fabry drop tower, the Albatross Zamperla disco ride, which, you know what, I'm attacking these guys for their theming here, but still better theming than Edge, a Zamperla disco. I'm just saying. Sorry, Portland's Park, I actually love you. They have many, many things that you just typically see in a theme park. Perhaps a cinema, or many shows and things. Essentially, it's basically the whole atmosphere of the whole park is the same thing. It's just kind of cheeky, filthy humour. What do you think? Have they taken it too far? Or is it worth the risk of being a bit weird to gain some traction? Because otherwise I would have probably never heard of this park. It's the only one in Denmark I've ever heard of. Stop what you're doing and have a look at the brand new merch. Right now you get free holographic stickers with any pin purchase, so you can be the coolest enthusiast in any theme park. With tried and tested back row please pins and I hate trim breaks protest pins, you can find them all at Luweepoo.com, so go and have a look. I mentioned earlier that people really loved this, but is that true? Well, let's get into the public reaction to Bonbon Land. So, kids apparently loved it. Apparently they loved the funny mascots. And the people dressed up in them and their interactions with them. They enjoyed the silly theming. In fact, some described it as a paradise for younger children. Bit of strong wording there, due to some of the more gentle rides. But parents and adults were a bit more split. While some appreciate the park's unique humour, others thought it was quite distasteful. Others were reported as saying it's outdated humour. Well, everyone's gonna poo, Janice. Or even borderline offended by some of the vomiting rats and things like that. How far is too far for a theme? Though some adults did find it bizarre and off-putting, it still became a must-see attraction for many. Though some things did seem a little outdated, I will admit, such as the Confederate flag hung around the place, and some people say caricatures were a bit outdated and offensive. I get one of those, but okay. Are you ready to hear some further interesting facts about Bonbon Land? So I know I mentioned outdated, but something interesting about Bonbon Land is that some of the themes of the rides that they had there actually outdated the candy that they were themed after. So once they discontinued some of the sweets, they still had some of these like vomiting rats and all that around the place. Time magazine even recognised Bonbon Land as the world's weirdest theme park. And there is that one in Japan as well, isn't there? So this is just the surface of Bonbon Land's lore. Have you heard of it before? Have you seen the video of that one dog roller coaster? Maybe. Overall, the park was infamous for its over-the-top theming, weird statues, kind of disgusting sound effects around the park. Everywhere you look, you'd find animals defecating, urinating or vomiting. For example, a sewer rat projectile vomiting, seagulls pooping in an alligator's mouth, and cows with exaggerated udders. I think what makes the humour work is just the sheer commitment to the theme. The park is filled with hundreds of statues and visual gags around the place. People have described it as waking up from a bizarre dream and realising it's real, which is kind of how I felt when I went to Efteling. I also was very sleep deprived in Efteling, so I can't really give a fair review. I thought it was amazing, but blimey, I can't give a fair review. And also, I do know that these are 2 different countries somewhere in Europe. So overall, do you think the bizarre potty humour in Bonbon Land makes it sound like worth a visit? Or in this economical crisis that we're in, would you rather save your pennies and go somewhere else? For a park that's designed to make you cringe, laugh and feel something, I think they must be doing a pretty good job. What do you think? Would you visit? I will not be visiting. Not in this climate. I can't. I know that that's kind of a running joke on my channel, is the strange like sound effects that I use, but it's not worth a plane trip across to Scandinavia, is it? I don't rightly know. Is it Scandinavia? It's not worth a trip for me. I'm sorry. Bonbon Land. I've never eaten your candy and I never will. Sounds minging. Especially if you're planning on bringing like children into your factory to help out. No, I don't support that whatsoever. Joke, by the way. That's clearly a joke. Obviously, they're not labouring children, I don't think. What do you think of this kind of video, guys? Do you enjoy these kind of brief fact files on parks that you may not have heard of or know much about? This is the kind of content I'd watch, so that's why I'm making it. Thanks for watching! Idiot. Do you know what? This microphone has stopped working due to a user error, so I'm gonna put it down. Look, it's just you and me now. Thank you so much for watching, and leave a comment on what you think of Bonbon. And look, I've got both hands up. Oh my gosh, it's like my live stream. Ah! I just realised now that's why my live streams are so fun. Hands free. Okay, well bye! Oh, a double hand wave, you don't get that often on this channel.